Right. Okay, let's formally open this Q&A session with our yell. Build, scale, done.
All right.
That's awesome, guys. And I hope that you are now already. Oh, I see. I was talking to you about looking at a screen that hasn't been shared yet. So that's fine. Now you see my screen here, and I'll show you the members area again in just a little bit. Okay, awesome. Let me collapse this, and there you go. Let me look for my questions. My chat window is right here. So this is kind of free for all. So the last piece that you had watched is that we've been going through is Q&A, is Facebook optimization. So anything that has to do with campaign optimization, how to read the data, and so forth. So this is the primary topic for this Q&A, but anything else particularly has to do with Facebook ads, but anything else that is left there to ask, feel free to ask it. Sorry, yeah. Feel free to ask it, and we can, let's do about 20 to 30 minutes of questions, and then we might fit in another hot seat in there, and then we'll go more about that. I'm really reluctant to go into manual bidding. I think we're going to have so many topics to discuss that have to do with other things other than manual bidding that I would really focus on this. Okay, we're going to be able to, you can actually spend $500 and even $1,000 on an ad set without manual bidding. That is not a problem at all. Exactly. Jeff and Leilani have been standing in line for campaign reviews. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that rather than talking about manual bidding. All right, there you go. So for the time being, just set up CASA 6.2s and do them on manual bid, on auto bid, and scale them up high on the budgets as you copy them and as you duplicate them into more CASA 6.2s. Just keep launching them at higher and higher budgets, one step up at a time. So the steps that I would suggest for that is, if you start out at 20, the next one up, you can, well, for one thing, you can always launch at the same budget level again, but then the next step up for scaling would be going to $50, then to $100, then to $200, to $250, something like that. Then you can go to $500, then you can go to $1,000. And if it still works, if you have a highly scalable design and a highly scalable offer, there's a very good chance that it will still work. So you don't need to get into manual bidding for this kind of scaling on an offer that is really good. Okay, here's a question from Kara. Just to clarify, if we click one day in an ad set, the optimization starts over every day? No, that's not really how it works. It's just that the period of data that is considered for the primary optimization is that of one day. So there really are a couple of different dimensions of optimization. One is the performance of the ad set, okay? So that is the actual conversions that are coming into that ad set, and conversion here is the conversion that you're optimizing for. So when you're optimizing or bidding for purchase, then that conversion is a purchase. If you're optimizing for add to cart, then that conversion is an add to cart, and so forth. So a one-day window basically is similar to a custom conversion, but except it filters in time. It doesn't filter in some sort of other filter where you consider only the conversions within a certain product or within a certain niche, but rather you consider the conversions over a certain period of time. And so when you set one day, then that's one day. So that means it'll optimize based on the data that is gathered within one day for the conversion that is selected as optimization criteria, right? So let me clarify this completely clearly by going in here and looking at one of the ad sets that we have in here. I'm going into edit mode. So this is in the campaign, right? So right here on the bottom, this is what we're talking about, right? The conversions here. Now, the conversions that are here are related to whatever is selected. Okay, so that is one of the ones that isn't working for that, right? So let me see. Let me see if I can find one that is not messed up by our playing around there earlier. So yeah, this one is good, right? So it says purchase here. This is kind of like a dormant account, so there isn't any data being gathered with this pixel, but the purchase event is selected right here. If you X this out, then you have all the other events that are available listed here, right? So you can go over to add to cart. Whichever event is selected here, that is the one that is optimized for, that this ad set is optimized for. And that is also the one that this delivery optimization setting is relevant to. So if it was up to me, I would actually have put these things closer together, right? This here, conversion event location. Okay, so this here is the event that is relevant to the settings that are over here in the optimization and delivery segment, all right? So if this is selecting conversions, then that looks at exactly that event that's selected here, right? And then you can select here which date range of conversion events you want to consider for optimization. So you can choose one-day click, only one-day click. So that means I'm going to only look at all the conversions that come and that are attributable to this ad set in 1 day. And in this case, I have add to cart selected, right? So that's that. And if I select this down here, 1-day click or view, that means they actually don't have to have clicked the ad in order for the conversion to be attributable to this ad set. They only have to have seen the ad. So the impression alone would be an attribution event. I call this attribution events, which is the event that is responsible for that ad set reporting any sale that comes from whatever that event is, right? Either a click or a view. If it's view, they don't have to have clicked on the ad. They only have to have seen the ad within 1 day of buying something that is tracked with this pixel. If they do that, that conversion is going to be logged in there. And it's not just the purchase event, it also applies to the add to cart, the view content, the lead events, all the other events that are tracked with this pixel. If they happen within 1 day of them viewing the ad, that conversion is going to show up in the reports for this ad set. And this is very significant. I want to point this out again. I don't know if you caught that in the webinar, but the way that Facebook reports all conversions, any conversions, is not when the conversion happens. So not when they add the product to the cart or when they purchase the product, but rather it's when the attribution event happens. So it's when whatever happened that is responsible for attributing that conversion event to this ad set. And so what I just explained, right, when they click within 1 day or when they view, just even view the ad within 1 day, then that gets attributed to that. So within 1 day, that's a 24-hour time frame, right? So it can be tomorrow. So when tomorrow conversion happens, let's say tomorrow morning, a conversion happens on an ad set, on a click that I did today or that the viewer did today, on a click or a view. If they add something to the cart, if they purchase it tomorrow morning, then that sale that happens tomorrow is actually going to show up in Facebook reports today. So the previous day, whenever the event happened that is responsible for attributing the conversion to the campaign. And that, of course, becomes even more important when you select a longer time period here. So when you select 7 days click or 1 day view, all of a sudden you can severely shift how the reporting looks like, what the reporting looks like, but also what the optimization looks like, right? So on the 7 day, it can now consider more conversions for optimizing that campaign. So therefore, the 7 day option is always the right one when you have fewer conversion events happen. So when the conversion events that you have selected here are not that many, you always want to go for the longer optimization time frame, because otherwise you just don't get enough conversion events happening during this time frame here to really be effective for optimization. All right. So if you have, let's say you have 100 view content events in a day, and out of these 100 view content events, 10 are adding it to the cart, and 5 are purchasing it. Okay, so that's pretty good conversion rate, right? That would be pretty good conversion rate on your store. But let's just say those are numbers, right? 100 view content, 10 add to cart, 5 purchases each day, right? So now, what should you do with this? What should you optimize for, and what should you choose for conversion window? Well, if you have 100, if you want to optimize for view content, you can choose one day, because that's plenty. 100 conversions in a single day, that's plenty enough to choose one day click here. Okay. However, if you're looking to add to cart or purchase optimization, you should choose the longer period if those are the numbers. Okay, because 5 or 10 is not going to be enough to optimize effectively on a one-day click window. Okay, so hope that explains that question. Okay, results, yes, clarify. Okay, sorry, the question when you are evaluating ads, are you looking at on a one-day window or over a 3-day window? Okay, so yeah, so if I evaluate ads, I look back. I look at today's data, usually not before noon, usually kind of in the mid-afternoon. I start looking at today's data only. The reason for that is that today's data are often delayed. Sometimes they're delayed technically, in the sense that something isn't showing up in Facebook, even though it already happened in Shopify. And sometimes it's actually this, buying behavioral delay. So where purchases are made in the evening when people saw or clicked on an ad in the morning, and they saved the link or whatever they did. They come back on another device. They're not logged in, or whatever it is. They come back later and they buy the thing in the evening, so the purchase event happens later, and that can also cause that delay, right? So therefore, I typically don't look at the ads in the morning, just because they're frustrating to look at in the morning, and they strongly improve over the course of the day. You're smiling, Jonathan. Do you see that too? Do you agree with that?
I agree completely.
Yeah. Right. Okay, good. Okay, but then, so because of that, I usually like to look at yesterday's data primarily, and then I work my way further back so I can get a feel for if the ads are actually improving or disimproving, or getting worse or getting better over time. And I like to look back 3 days and 7 days. So once you have a product that is doing well, you should try to get in the habit of letting them run and letting these ads run a little bit longer. Okay, so once you have a product that is getting some sales on the first day, try to not touch those. This is an important piece that I try to convey here about the CASA 6.2 system, is that it allows you to give yourself a little bit more time and a little bit more patience with the ads to optimize and to do their thing. Yeah. So if you have a whole bunch of stuff going on, if you're really getting nervous about performance, you can pick out of the 6, you can pick the ones that are really doing much worse than the others. But really the main focus here should be on letting the other ones go and keeping them in there and letting them run for 3, 4, 5 days if you can, if they're doing all right. So if they're all terrible and you just don't have really the practice yet in finding a good product that works with the ads, then that's a different story. You can turn them off. But if they are performing all right, rather than messing around with it and scaling already after you have 2 or 3 sales, I want you to leave them and let them sit for a few days so that they can optimize and get in the groove. That'll be, over the long run, this will work better. Kara, can you go over some setting up custom conversions and how it helps train your pixel? Well, it doesn't really help train your pixel. It does not help train your pixel. I thought I made that clear before, because the custom conversion is a filter that happens after the pixel is already trained, has already gathered the data, right? So if you want to specifically get your pixel to be specializing into a niche that fits one demographic and not get also try to optimize it for a different demographic, then you should run separate pixels for separate niches. Okay, we made that example yesterday when I explained that example of 200 conversions, you have 200 sales. It's a big difference if the 200 sales are all from females 25 through 44, or if, you know, a third of those are in that group and another third is from men in 18 to 34 range, that is, you know, completely different niche, and another one is from men 54 through 65 on also a different niche. So you just have less optimization data for each of these groups, and on top of that, Facebook now tries to make some sort of optimization happen where it considers the whole pot of data, the 200 conversions, and tries to kind of synthesize that and put them together and you know, kind of correlate them to each other. So it's going to work worse if you build a pixel for very diversified, different niches, different demographics that you're trying to optimize like that. So therefore, and because the custom conversion doesn't do anything about that, it doesn't do anything about how the pixel as a whole gathers data, right? Because the custom conversion is a filter after the data has been gathered, not before the data is being gathered. So because of that, I would run separate pixels in that case, and in the event, in the case of the custom conversions, that is more a tool that can help you scale a product that is doing all right, that looks like really hopeful, and you're getting enough conversions already of that specific kind that you can then filter, right? So if you have, like, let's say you have multiple products that you're testing, and then you notice that, whoa, one is really taking off, we're starting to get 20 sales, 30 sales, 50 sales a day of just that one product, then that would be a good opportunity to kick in a custom conversion for that, and let that optimize for that separately. So I guess I'm a little bit distracted. Somebody is trying to kill me with heat. It's like, it's not that my house is on fire, but someone turned on the heater. It's like 80 degrees here right now. It's crazy. And I have this remote controlled temperature thing on my cell phone. So I was just trying to get some relief on that. So there you go. Yeah, I don't know if we can go into custom conversions. You generally, you know how to do custom conversions, right? You just simply go in here and let me make sure that this shows what I'm expecting. Yeah, so there's no custom conversion in this particular account yet, so this should be relatively safe for me to show you this. But actually, it won't show much because this this particular account has not been used at all to advertise e-commerce, and so you won't have all the different event types and the parameters and everything. It doesn't really even have a Facebook pixel in here, so forget about that. I can't show this right now. All right, I'll make a separate video for that. But again, the custom conversion is not for keeping the pixel clean or training the pixel in any way, shape, or form. All right, so let's see.
So Leilani says, I find it really strange that when looking at Google Analytics, I see people at a particular page. However, on Facebook link clicks, I do not see any clicks to that page.
Okay, well, in order to filter that better, you'd have to see, you know, if you see people on Google Analytics, you should use UTM values in the ads so that you can figure out if they're actually coming from Facebook. So one really easy way to make that pretty reliable and simple to see is if you come in here into these UTM URL parameters, and you put in here UTM source equals Facebook, and use this kind of strange and sign. You can see this, it's not all large enough here. Okay, so you have this strange and sign here, and then you go UTM medium equals CPC. So this here is CPC, UTM medium equals CPC. That is a way for Google Analytics to classify this traffic as paid traffic. So if you just put this and you put all other traffic without UTM tags, so that, so if you do it this way, you don't get any UTM tags into organic traffic, right? So anyone who clicks on this link here while they're seeing the post from a share or from a comment, they wouldn't get these tags here. These tags would only be added to this link when the post is showing from this particular ad. So that's why you put the URL parameters into all these fields in each ad, so that you can actually later, if you do it more refined, you can put specifically which ad and which ad set they're coming from. You can put that in here into the other values, right? So, but to just make it simple, if you tag all of your ads with UTM medium equals CPC, then Google Analytics will very simply, very easily show you the paid traffic that's coming from Facebook. And then everything else will show up as Facebook referral, okay? And therefore, you can then see from Google Analytics where is your Facebook referral traffic that comes in through organic clicks compared to your Facebook paid traffic that is coming in from clicks, where people actually click on the link when they're seeing this post because of an ad, okay? And so only the ones that have UTM medium equals CPC in Google Analytics would be the ones where you would say, okay, well, that should probably somehow show up in Facebook reports as well.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
For the UTMs, do you have to put the UTM underscore source on when you're doing the tagging?
Well, no, you don't have to put anything here. But if you do put it in there, then you know that this is coming from Facebook. I mean, you could argue that, well, it's going to be referral traffic anyway, and so it's going to say Facebook anyway. That probably is a fairly good argument. But I always
can I put something there to identify my each specific ads when I do look at the Google Analytics?
Yeah, you can. You can. I wouldn't recommend that. The reason is this. So what I would recommend, if you want to specify each ad, I would use the UTM term parameter, or even the UTM campaign parameter, okay? Campaign or term. Term is kind of like, that shows up as keywords in Google Analytics, and campaign obviously shows up as campaign. But in Google Analytics, you can very easily make a combination out of source and medium, that is in one column in Google Analytics, and then in another column, you can easily combine with that column, you can combine either keyword or campaign. So I would rather keep this here more high level, so that you can distinguish between Facebook traffic and Google traffic, for example. And then you can break it down using the secondary dimension. It's called secondary dimension in Google Analytics. When you're looking at one report, so let's say you're looking at the source and medium report, and they can be combined in one column, source and medium together in one column. And then you choose as a secondary dimension, you can choose either campaign or keyword, and then it breaks it down by whatever you put in here to distinguish that. So, I mean, I think it would be an awesome, very simple system to do just simply this, to put UTM campaign in here, and then for campaign, you could just use the campaign name that you put here, right? So you just put this with the date. That would be an awesome values, an awesome system to use here. Just put, oops, of course they went away for some reason. Let's see why. Oh, that's strange. That's strange. They shouldn't have been erased. Normally they stay. Anyway, so you could just, as I was doing it here, you could put this here in there. That'd be awesome. And then you could put UTM term equals, and there you put something about your audience. You say something like, LA 1% built on purchase events, and I narrowed it down by females 34 through 35 through 54, let's say, right? So that would mean something to me, right? That would mean LAA 1%, lookalike audience 1%, built on the purchase event, and this here is my age range. Okay, you can put all kinds of things in here. Now, UTM parameter management is a little bit cumbersome in Facebook because unfortunately they don't have something like this where you can rename this field using available fields. I wish they had something like that here, but they don't. So you have to always go through and manipulate this value here individually to make that usable. So it's a little bit cumbersome because of that. But so this is also a good example for a great piece of information that would be available in Google Analytics, right? Because now you could go to the report by campaign, and you could see exactly which Facebook campaign this click is coming from, and these conversions are coming from. And then you could break it down by the audience, right? Or you could also put something in the term here about which of the two ads are showing, sending the traffic, right? So there are different ways to kind of make yourself a system that makes sense to you here, that to fill the values of the UTM parameters. All right. So
next question. All right. So Laxman asks, on the 50 conversions required to optimize, is it 50 conversions on each ad set? Or is it 50 conversions at the campaign level, or 50 conversions on the account level?
Yeah, well, this is a conundrum because officially, according to Facebook, it's 50 conversions per ad set. So this is on ad set level, right? And 50. So it's since recently they say 50 because they have now the status there where it says learning phase or learning mode. And they say that they are right there. They explain that you need 50 conversions in learning mode until that goes away. Now, the conundrum part is that optimization somehow, for some strange reason, also works if you have a much lower budget than ever coming to 50 conversions within any time frame that you might be able to optimize for, right? So that's a conundrum. So according to Facebook, yes, it's 50 conversions per ad set in the time frame that you're choosing. So if you choose one day and you're needing 50 conversions and you have 100 view contents, 10 add to carts, and 5 purchases for that campaign, you should not be trying to optimize for view content, for anything in the one-day click window other than the view content. So just like we said before, right? Whereas the add to cart, that's going to give you enough, that's going to give you more than 50 conversions over a 7-day time frame, right? So for that 7-day time frame would be fine. According to that theory and that way, that explanation of how it works, the optimization by purchase should not work at all, right? Because you don't get, you get 35 in a 7-day time frame, so you don't get enough conversions ever to get over that learning phase within the optimization, delivery optimization window. So, but the conundrum part of that is that optimization works anyway, even not quite the way that that Facebook says it does. And I mean, so the upsetting part of the Facebook explanation really is that if you try to follow their rules and you say, well, so logically, since I need 50 conversions, I just need to put enough budget into this ad set so that I can allow 50 conversions to happen in a day, right? So now, what are your conversions like? All right, I get a conversion for $10. They need 50 of those in a day. So $500 budget, right? Should work. But the problem is that doesn't work either. So that's the upsetting part, and that's why I just don't recommend in general to listen to what Facebook says. You know, you can't. I mean, you have to figure out. So what Facebook says is the way it's supposed to work, but for a large part, what we are trying to do here with small e-commerce stores that is sneaking out a few sales per ad set here and there, we're essentially flying under the radar of the system that is meant for, you know, whatever, bigger advertisers inside Facebook, right? Now you can say, well, yeah, but I want to become a bigger advertiser. That's exactly what I'm looking for, right? I want to scale. Yeah, well, okay. if that's what you would like to do, you need a little bit more budget in the beginning. You need to really front load these campaigns. You need to have quite certainty, a lot of certainty that whatever you're putting up there as an offer will actually eventually convert and will develop momentum. And there are these kind of like jailbreak style ways of running campaigns, but I just wouldn't recommend that. This is not what most people want to do and want to try. And the funny part is it actually works to learn the ad system and the workings of Facebook with smaller budgets and testing systematically the way that CASA 6.2 shows you. And then once you get something, some feel and some skill under your belt, you will see that I can actually scale the budget. I can actually set up the CASA 6.2 with higher budgets to begin with and get also then good results once I can hone my skills of actually identifying a good offer. So then you can go to the next level and upgrade and scale that way.
Great.
So the next one is interesting from Ty. Just starting out with the free per shipping, then switching to retail, throw off the pixel data for that account. That's a really good question. This is a very fundamental question, because the idea is that free per shipping generally would attract a completely different buyer type and buying behavior than regular retail offers. So I have a case study for that is kind of going the opposite direction, because I have a very big client that I'm working with. I have been working with them for several months now, and they have always ever only sent and marketed retail priced products. And in the retail priced products, the minimum purchase that someone could make was about $60, just under $60 plus shipping. So it was actually over $60 once shipping was included. And there were several different packages and bundles and ways that the products could be combined. So by the time you got into higher prices, it was actually possible to buy a $200 item. Okay, so that was kind of like the range. You could start with a $60 purchase, but you could also go quite a bit higher. And so the average purchase order, the average order value there was about $85 to $90. All right. So with that, and the problem was the add to cart conversion rate was kind of lowish, right? It was like 5.5% add to cart. And then, but people converted really strongly from add to cart to purchase, right? Almost like about half of everybody who put the thing into the cart went through with the purchase, which is very high. That's a very high conversion rate for that step between when they already have it in the cart and actually finishing the purchase. Usually you have a little bit more drop off there. So in that particular case, we turned around and we said, what if we offer a free sample of the product and make that a free per shipping offer? So we did, and immediately the add to cart rate shot up from 5% to 20%, almost 20%, 18, 19%. But then there was a steeper drop-off, way steeper drop-off. So, we didn't get all of a sudden 10% conversion rate, still half of whatever the add to cart was. But now the conversion rate dropped to about 6%, which is double of what it was before, right? It's 6%. It was 3% before. It's 6% now. So it's double what it was before. It was much better, but it has a steeper drop-off based on the add to cart numbers, right? Because they were just so high. And that's pretty typical. I mean, if you've ever ran or tested free per shipping offers, you probably agree, you probably had that experience, that simply because even if you tell them upfront, even in the ad, that they're going to have to pay for shipping, the actual shipping cost is only typically revealed in the cart. Once they're in the cart and further in the cart after they've entered the information, then eventually you show them how much they're going to pay for shipping. And so that's when typically people bail out, because it's either too high or they weren't expecting any shipping at all because they didn't read the prints on the ads or whatever. So so that's typical, that for a free per shipping offer, there's a steeper drop-off. So now back to the question, does it mess up the pixel? It could. So we strictly use custom conversions to optimize campaigns, right? Because we want to optimize the free per shipping ads for the free per shipping conversion and the retail ads for whatever special offer we're running for those. And it's actually very interesting because when you use custom conversions in that context, it's very, very useful, not just for optimization purposes, but also for reporting purposes. Because you can make every custom conversion show up as a separate column in your ads reports, ads manager reports, right? So because of that, we could now see, all right, the free per shipping ads here, those free per shipping ad sets, they had a bunch of conversions on the free per shipping, but also had some conversions on the other one, on the other custom conversion, right? So for somehow, the free per shipping offer also turned some people into actual buyers of the retail price products. And that was then tracked by another custom conversion. So we could actually have a breakdown of, okay, this ad set gave us so many free per shipping conversions and so many retail conversions, which is, you know, it's great. It's great information, great breakdown to have that for reporting purposes.
Thomas, can I add to that real quick?
Yeah.
So the reason I asked is because without fail, with 3 different products, I was able to figure out the free plus shipping method where I'm getting 50 to 60% add to cart and about a 12 to 15% conversion rate.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy. 50% add to cart is crazy.
Yeah, I do it. Like I've figured it out. Like with 3 straight products, like I've much figured that formula out. So the thing is when I switch to retail, it totally goes to shit. And then when I go back to free plus shipping, that's just totally destroyed. So I'm like, there must be something with it.
Yeah.
So I want.
Well, okay, but there's an easy solution to that. So in general, free per shipping, you can test free per shipping in your Shopify store and just run it and see if you get, you know, what the kind of the conversion dynamic is. And it'll always work somehow, right? You can always make free per shipping offers work as far as converting is concerned. And then the problem is that typically on a free per shipping offer, if you just run it as a standalone, it's not that easy to make it profitable. You can, but it's a little bit more challenging because then you have to inflate the shipping costs a little bit more by the time that is then a little bit more difficult to get conversions in that. So that means eventually you always want to work your way to where you have a funnel with an upsell offer after the free per shipping. And that gives you an opportunity to segment the audiences right then and there. You know, so you should have it so that you have very distinguishable conversions that come from an upsell offer, as opposed to straight conversions that are retail buyers, as opposed to conversions that come from the free per shipping offer. And so if you have that all segmented, all these 3 different groups available in terms of making the pixel data distinguishable, then you can build separate custom audiences from that, and then lookalike audiences for each segment, and then they work better for each purpose. You can see then, you know, how this works. So the people that upgrade right away to a retail offer that you offer in the same funnel with the free per shipping, they're going to be more compatible with your general purchase offers. And the people that do just free per shipping, they're just great to attract more free per shipping buyers, but not necessarily the end.
Yeah, because that was the idea, was to do it with the POD stuff, because I found a super cheap low-end product where I can get it for $50. So I wanted to do the free plus on the POD and then upsell them immediately to the same design with a different, you know what I'm saying? So I want to figure out how do I do that without blowing the pixel for that account, because it hasn't worked.
Yeah, I mean, okay, but what if you make it so that you have a separate pixel firing that fires just for, what if you had a separate pixel firing that fires just for the free per shipping product?
That's what I was thinking.
So you would have to have 2 pixels, that one fires only for the free per shipping and one fires not for the free per shipping. So that's kind of the challenge, right? But no, I mean, it's totally possible. It's totally doable that one pixel does not fire if there is a free per shipping product in the cart or in the product.
Yeah. All right, excellent. Now, are you using OCU, or do you recommend Cart Hook for the upselling?
Latest and greatest experience, I recommend OCU over CardHook.
Okay.
OCU is more functional, and I discovered a really cool way to track funnels, specific by product, what the conversion rates are and so forth. It's very advanced, but I'll show you. I'll show you one time.
All right.
Real quick,
That's going,
talking about,
yeah.
I'm sorry, talking about OCU, you just mentioned something about tracking, because when I was using it, it was completely throwing off all my numbers on Facebook, my Shopify store, my percentages were off. Do you know if that's been fixed or not?
No, it's not fixed. It's not fixable. It's a systemic problem. It's not. You have to just understand it and deal with it and look at it the right way. I mean, so just again, I want to kind of push back on that topic because it's not a beginner's topic. But just to fill everyone in, so OCU stands for one-click upsell. It's an app that you can use to make offers after the initial sale. And the complexity here that Vlad got hung up on is that this app and other apps that work like it take the initial sale from Shopify and don't let Shopify process the initial sale. Okay, so they're checking out the initial sale. They're redirecting them from the cart page to their own checkout pages and process the initial transaction there. And then once that is done, they offer an upsell offer on the thank you page. But this is all outside of Shopify. So once the product leaves the cart in Shopify, it goes over to the pages that are created by the app. And because of that, any of those conversions that happen on the apps pages and not in the Shopify pages are not trackable in the Shopify metrics. So that means the add to cart and the reach checkout and the purchase percentages, the three big percentages that you go by in Shopify, they are now no longer tracking any of the conversions that happen on the upsell funnels, right? Including the initial transaction that goes into there. Sometimes you think that, oh, well, it doesn't matter as long as the initial transaction is tracked in Shopify, that's fine. But the point is, it's not. The upsell apps divert the initial transaction already to their own pages and take them away from trackability in Shopify. So it makes it much more complicated to understand your numbers in Shopify and to read everything. Okay, so again, we'll do advanced training for that and close that topic, OCU topic here for the purpose of this course. All right, so that's that. Let's see. So Renee is asking, is there some guidance like if cost per link click is greater than blah, 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 no sales after $40 spent, then turn off? Well, I mean, there's some guidance, but there's no fixed numbers. What I suggest is that you figure this out for your specific situation. And the CASA 6-2 method is one of the best ways, it's actually the best way that I know to figure this out as you go, right? So because in the beginning, there's nothing, you don't have any data. So CASA 6-2 generates a diversity of data, some of which will hopefully work better than other pieces, and some of that will hopefully work well enough to show you what's possible. And once you know what's possible, then it's easy to reject everything that you don't like, because now you know that's what I can get with this audience and with this product and with this tracking, right? So now you can then go, oh, it's easy now. This is the good one. I keep that. I do more of that. This is the bad one. I reject that and turn it off faster. And then you can kind of see. Then you have to experiment. Is there any chance ever that an ad set that looks really bad in the beginning will turn into a big improved hit and do really well after, whatever, 3-4 days? And as you get more comfortable in testing, and as you get more comfortable in your cash flow, because you're testing some stuff and you're getting some results that are actually profitable and are replenishing your cash flow, then you can develop a little bit more comfort for going, all right, well, so I have 3 ad sets that are working really well, so I'm going to scale them, I'm going to build on them. And I have 3 here that I would rather turn off. How about I just keep one of them running just to see if that would ever turn around, right? And so you can just kind of gather your own test data over time as you get more comfortable reading the data and making these tests yourself.
Yeah, can I add to that, Thomas? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Renee, exactly. It's you got to get the data first because I used to be like that too. Until you actually start seeing your sales and your other ATCs and your VCs and all that, you won't really know. So I just did a Casa 6.2 yesterday, and today I'm at two of them are making sales. I'm at $15 CPP, and then another one's at 6 or 7, which is awesome for me. I know mine are usually in the $20 to $30 range. So these are doing well, but the thing is you got to keep, there's no set rule in the beginning because you don't know what's good, what's not good until you actually get that data. Yeah, so I just wanted to add that in. And Thomas,
Awesome.
how are you on time? I know you're
Oh, no, I'm fine. Well, we have to get into the review section in a minute.
Yeah.
Take a couple of questions yourself here real quick. It looks like I have someone locked out in my house that I need to let in. I'll be right back. Just a couple of minutes.
All right, let's see here. Okay, so when is it okay to layer the audience in the ad set? With the general product, is it okay to target? So let's see. When is it okay to layer the audience in the ad set? So when you're saying layer, are you talking about like flex targeting it? Is that what you're referring to, Chef? Okay. So it depends on your niche. It depends on if you what kind of product you have. Is it a broad product for a lot of people? So for what I do, I typically pick a niche, right? So let's say it's a sports niche. I'll pick a sport like baseball or something, and then I'll test those and see how they do by themselves. And if I feel like they're not, they're not doing as well as I want them to, what I like to do as a go-to, right, is to layer them with online shopping or engaged shopper. Those are kind of what I go with, and it kind of narrows down, right? So if you have got like a 4 million audience, you put in an online shop and it'll probably bring it down to about 3 million, right? And for me, my sweet spot is 2 million. So I try to do what I can to get it down to the 2 million. Now with the general product, is it okay to target very broad? Yeah, I believe it should be okay to target very broad. I'll let Thomas, I don't know if you want to add on to that. I don't usually do.
Well, yeah, I mean, the whole idea that with the general product, it's okay to target very broad. The challenge with general products is to get enough engagement for it. If you have a general product that is awesome, that just comes across as, I must have this, and it's super engaging because it solves my problem, and it solves a problem that many people have, and it comes across like that in a very engaging video, then you can target that very broadly and it'll work, right? So targeting with general product is not hard. The hard part is finding a general product that is so spontaneously engaging that everybody who needs it actually does something about that ad when they see it, right? They get grabbed immediately and do something. So a general product, when you say general product, it sometimes sounds like, can I just take anything? Can I just take anything and try to sell that online? And if it's not a super engaging ad, then that's very difficult, no matter if you target it generally or if you have a targeting that happens to be very specific.
Right.
You could say, dog leashes. Dog leashes are a lot more specific than kitchen utensils, because dog leashes is very specific, because the people who like dogs may not need a dog leash, right? So it's like, right? So you have to target dog owners, whereas everybody owns a kitchen. So if you get a kitchen utensil that is it's a super tool that solves a problem that everybody has all the time, then you're going to get more response on that than if you target people who like dogs with a dog leash.
Cool. Yep.
All right, so let me try to hit like 10 questions here in the next 3 minutes, and just do like really fast answers that are nonetheless really meaningful and helpful. So we have that is a layered audience. So Renee is another question here. So no website views after $10 and probably turn off. Yeah, I think that's a fairly safe rule. I mean, again, I'm not happy with making a firm rule that has a specific number in it for anything. If you're selling safes for $2,000, you might not have a website view after $10, and you may still be able to run this as a profitable ad. So it really depends. I mean, within the parameters that we're kind of generally discussing, relatively low price products, probably you need website views for under $10 to make that work. Mary, does the conversion value itself also influence the pixel's power? Example, a mermaid bracelet for $9.90, a mermaid framed canvas for $149. Yeah, no, it does. Not necessarily the pixel power, but you're going to, in theory, there is something behind conversions that happen on a higher priced product, right? They need to go to buyers that are generally buying more expensive stuff. And the cheaper items, in theory, need to find buyers that are okay with buying cheaper stuff. But I think this is actually overthinking the whole pixel functionality a little bit, because I would argue that there are so many factors that come out of the ad itself that would make the same difference in the results when you run an ad for a $9.90 product, comparing that with an ad that you're running for a $149 product. There would be fundamental big differences when you're just running this ad without any pixel involved whatsoever. So, you know, there's so many factors in there that I think it's kind of overthinking a little bit to get too deep into the pixel there with that. Renee says, excluding view content. Yeah, it's a very similar question. So you have these chicken or the egg type questions, Renee. So get out of those. It's like, when the egg isn't there yet, the chicken can't come out of it yet. But yet, I need to get the chicken to lay the egg in order to have a view content audience that I can then later exclude. Yeah, okay, so you need to first send traffic, then you make a view content audience, and then you exclude it. Because only then it makes a difference if you exclude or not, right? If you don't have anything, it doesn't make a difference if you don't exclude it, because it's not there yet. So it doesn't matter. It's totally a chicken and egg question. And yeah, so I don't mean to laugh about you, but I just find it funny that this is a very nice chicken and egg situation. So Mary, what I meant is huge price difference in products also may confuse the pixel. Well, you know, confused or not. I mean, it's a very similar question to Ty's question, because essentially that's what that is, right? If you send a free plus shipping offer and you charge under $10 for shipping, you get conversions on that, and then you sell retail price products, there's a difference. So we discussed that. Yeah, I mean, so
okay, so Leilani
I think
asks,
you're gonna shoot yourself into a niche where you basically go, all right, I really want to make this work for a higher priced product, and I could just find something that is so engaging and so cool, but it's a little bit more expensive, but then people will really see the value and buy it anyway. And then you have a funnel there going, then you don't even think about the $10 product anymore. Serge is having this research tool. Yeah, I know. The campaign URL builder is for UTMs, right. That essentially a tool just like that is built into Red Retarget links. So yeah, you guys can check this out there. I don't need to comment on that right now. We've already talked about UTMs long enough. Leilani says, Thomas, when exploring a niche, how many products would you try before you give up? Well, niches are niches, right? The niches that we gave you, they are good niches. You cannot, you know, you don't have to give up. If you want to make a store about babies, or a store about kitchen utensils, or a store about techno gadgets, you don't have to give up on that niche. You know, you just keep going after products and try to figure out what about that, the way that you've presented your offer didn't click with the audience. You know, is it too much competition? Do you need to find a different angle? Do you need to make a better video? There are always solutions to that if you hone your skills into a specific niche. So I wouldn't give up on a broad niche, because it's not like broad niches aren't working. It's just that you need to have more specific ideas for products to come up with. Laxman, I see some stores using video in their ads. They're skimming through the audience fast and notice once in a day they added 500,000 more video views. What would be strategies with such campaigns? Well, yeah, they're just using video view optimized ad sets and running a whole bunch of budget to that and building up video view audiences very quickly so that they can retarget them then. You know, so that's That's normal strategy. It's good strategy. With the video view audiences, again, you can do two different things. You can retarget them directly. You can retarget the people who actually did those actions, for watch those videos, or you can also use them for lookalike audience material, right? Because you can use those video view audiences as custom audiences, as base audiences for the video views. And by the way, there are other audience types available that go for page and post engagement. You know, there are audiences available where you can build audiences out of everyone who engaged with a post, with any post on your page. You can't specify that by post, but in general, you know, when you have a niche-specific page, which I would definitely recommend making niche-specific pages to run your ads if you run a general store. I would not run ads for general stores off of a very generic, you know, store-specific page that is just general and doesn't have any specific appeal to any of the niches that that you put on there. Chef is saying, does having multiple pixels equal having multiple ad accounts and perhaps all firing a general store? Yes, fraud. Yes, great. Thanks. Yes, understand. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, having multiple pixels, yes, it means you have multiple ad accounts and you fire them all in the same in the general store, but only for the products that match the niche that you're advertising that pixel for. And you can manage that with Trackify. Pranav, any way to bring the CPMs down other than increasing engagement? Well, CPMs are also a part of the targeting. Generally speaking, the more advanced or the more refined your targeting is, the more layered it is, and generally speaking, purchase optimization tends to be a little bit more expensive than video view or PPE type optimization. Search, what niche would you start with, knowing what you know now? Any of the niches that you have there, whatever. I would start with the niche that interests you personally the most, because that gives you the best motivation to, you know, decide from the heart what you want to do. Because, you know, if you hate cooking, and I wouldn't pick the kitchen niche. If you love cooking, I might consider that. Really decide by your own preferences. Okay, let's do 2 quick campaign reviews and kind of switch over into hot seat mode here for just a minute.
Yeah. So Chef was up. I think he's been waiting.
Yeah, Chef. I think we had Chef and Leilani.
Leilani,
Hi,
yeah.
thanks.
So I'm gonna hi Chef. So awesome. Hang on just 1 second. Let me first let me actually do a little closing here. So this was the last Q&A session for this Build, Scale, Done set of 2 days of implementation. I really hope that you got value from this course and value from this kind of marathon implementation setting, right? Getting everything you need to know together in 2 days, starting to implement, starting to tweak your store, set up your Facebook ads, looking at the results already. And that's really the fastest and the best ways to get up and running. So if you continue to have any further questions, we're all here for you in the Facebook group and in the members area as well. We'll be adding at times Facebook Lives that will then be posted in the members area. We'll be adding additional bonuses, additional helpful articles, helpful tools, helpful checklists, whatever you need. So just let us know if you have any further questions, and we'll be able to support you on an ongoing basis so that you can really be as successful as we want to see you be, okay? So thanks a lot for participating in this Q&A, and I'll see you next time. Good luck with your stores. Keep us in the loop and let us know how everything goes. That's awesome.
Thank you, Tom.